Hello and welcome everyone. I hope you can hear me, and with any luck, you'll be able to hear our all three of us when the others start speaking. Um, I am very pleased to say that despite Luke's absence from the stream this evening, we are pressing ahead with a full scale, if unusual, RPG for us, with Ewan and friend of the channel, crewmate on the Baltic Star, Sock Fiddler.
Thanks, hi. I was trying to think of something clever to say about being a crewmate, but I got nothing. I'm sorry. I'm just really thrilled to be a crewmate. Thanks, Ben. I mean, it used to be awkward stand-by, so I'm like, promotion.
Definitely.
Now, if I could stop throwing my underwear, that'd be nice.
Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're doing so live or on catch-up later. We are the boys from the Baltic Star, and we stream narrative games, mostly tabletop RPGs, except when Luke's on his own, when he dives off into the world of computer games and streams narrative computer games, many of which are excellent. We stream generally 4 nights a week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So we're 3/4 of the way through our weekend, and in the absence of a Luke, not only are we not playing a computer game, we are also not playing any kind of Luke-focused game whatsoever. This is the very first time we've tried playing the Buffy the Vampire Slayer role-playing game, which is this giant book. And it really is immense. Picked it up a very long time ago, have never actually played it through on stream or with this group of people. It's an interesting system, the Uni system, and it's completely new to the players, so we're going to take everyone through it as we go, start quite gently and see where it goes. So before we do anything else, let's say good evening to our players. Ewan, how are you this evening?
Hi Ben, I'm very good, thanks. I'm super excited to be playing some Buffy the Vampire Slayer 2C RPG, and I'm super excited for Sock Fiddler to be here.
Well, that's very sweet.
Aww.
And Socks,
I'm
how are you?
sober this week. I'm really, really excited.
So far.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a bottle of wine, but it's not going to be like the road carnage that happened last week. Anyway, I first of all like to start by paying homage to Ben, our beloved already half-spliced, because he is notoriously averse to D10, and this is a D10 base game. So well done, Ben. Take him on for the team. Thank you.
It is indeed a game that relies exclusively on the D10, made of wood and sharpened to a point. Which makes me think that a D4 might be better, actually. But anyway, yes, it's a D10 based game.
Yeah.
So this is based on the cinematic flavour of the Uni system game. Thank you, Ewan. That's always so appreciated.
I'm going to be using that prompt so much.
You know I can write Fess back into the Traveller game, don't you?
Oh, hold on. There might be one for that as well.
Oh, hi, Leno.
Good evening, Mr. Leno. Very nice to have you with us. So, tonight's game is going to require a little bit of introduction, and we're going to go quite gently through the process, get people started on a very simple level so we can see how it works, and then start taking them through an ancient scenario, because this one is set in ancient Rome. So, is everybody ready?
Yes.
In that case, let's get started. It's the 14th of February, in what would later become known as the year 71 BCE, but is currently considered the third year of the Third Servile War. Rome itself is threatened by the vast army raised by the leaders Gannicus, Castus and Spartacus, renegade gladiators. Last year, in a brutal fight, Crixus, the other of the 4 leaders of the rebellion, was killed and his army crushed, leading to huge celebrations in Rome. Honours were bestowed, wealth poured into the families of the victors. All of Rome joined in the excitement. All of Rome except one man. Crassus, is not just a citizen of Rome. He is the citizen of Rome. He is the most powerful and wealthiest man in the most powerful and wealthiest city of the most powerful and wealthiest empire the world has ever known. For Crassus, the defeat of Crixus is only a partial victory, not because 3 upstart slaves still command armies in the south of Italy, but because Crassus himself was ignored in the celebrations. He has proclaimed across the city that he will be the saviour of Rome. He has raised a legion, prepared and equipped like none before. Every year, February is the month of Crassus. He is the master of ceremonies in the rituals of the Lupercalia. He is the leader of the Quirinal celebrations. He is the one who bestows gifts, arranges public events, pays for games, races in the Circus Maximus. Every February, Crassus is not merely the most powerful man in Rome, he is the focus of the whole city. Crassus has never left the city in February. Not once. Crassus is, however, not the only man in Rome with wealth and power. Pompey, or as some are already calling him, Pompey the Great, is a statesman, general, orator, and public hero. And he has his own army. And he too has pledged to win the war, once and for all. He is returning to Italy with a battle-hardened legion. The rebellious slave rabble will fall before his troops like wheat before the scythe, and he will be ready to fight in weeks. Almost every Roman citizen is willing Pompey to destroy the enemy and free the city from its fear. But not Crassus. For Crassus, Pompey winning the war is almost as undesirable an outcome as the war being lost. So Crassus has led his army out of Rome to destroy the enemy before Pompey can reach the field of war. Unfortunately for Crassus, that means he has to leave Rome during the month of February, because by March, Pompey could have already won the war. But this tale isn't only about the rich and the powerful. It's also about a hard-working academic from a moderately well-to-do family, Titus Julius. It's about a young slave called Clarissa, purchased a year ago in Capua. And it begins just a few streets from the Circus Maximus, in the triclinium, or formal dining room of Titus Julius, where he and his son Gaius are entertaining a local businessman. Rabius is a man of some self-importance, but in truth he's really just a promoter, putting on events in public arenas all across Latium, the region around Rome. He is hoping that Julius's modest ludus, his gladiator school, can supply some fighters for an upcoming event. He plans to assemble an amphitheatre on the plains of Mars and use it to make some significant money. From time to time, his attention is distracted by the beautiful slave Clarissa who serves the food to the men in the room, but he's not after a girl, however lovely. He wants fighters. For Gaius, only son of Julius, this is a scene he's witnessed dozens of times. Someone comes to see the gladiators, hoping to find the next popular hero of the arena, and, as always, the person is calmly informed that none of the fighters are yet ready. There have been injuries, making the current crop unavailable, and the newcomers have barely begun their training. There's sadly not a single fighter that Julius can show to Rabius. It's sad, of course, a missed opportunity, but hopefully, in the future, they can do business. Full of food and wine, but unsatisfied in his mission, Rabius eventually bids his hosts farewell and Clarissa shows the guest out. By the time she returns, the triclinium is deserted, and she steps lightly out onto the steps leading out onto the training yard of the ludus. On the other side is the room that serves as the shrine to Mars, an essential feature of a working gladiator school. She's been holding herself in check all evening, and now, unobserved by strangers, she takes a couple of quick steps and, impossibly, leaps across the square, landing lightly on the roof of the shrine. Without an instant's hesitation, she tumbles backwards, somersaulting through the air to land almost silently outside the door. Her arrival is noted by those inside. Julius smiles at her warmly and the others look up with expectation. "So," she says, "what's the plan, Romans?" Socks. You are playing Clarissa, the Vampire Slayer.
I still think sexy Clarissa should be Ewan, but that's fine. I'll take it. I'll take one for the team, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And
It is much appreciated.
and you are playing Gaius, the son of Julius, who runs the Ludus. Julius is, in Buffy lore, the Watcher.
Oh, you're like the Watcher's son. Oh, you're a nerd. I mean, you're a nerdus maximus.
I mean, I'm not sure it's genetic, if I'm honest. But
Well, before we move on to other things, let me quickly introduce you to the shape of Rome in this era. So there is no Colosseum, for example. It's another century before that will be built.
Hey, Pink. Sorry, Pink's here. Hello, Pink.
Hello, very nice to see you.
Really thrilled. It's really lovely to see Pink and Stevie here tonight. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Sorry.
On this map, you can see the River Tiber curving around on the top left corner. The position of the Circus Maximus and the Forum, by far the two most notable building structures in the city. And 6 of the 7 hills of Rome, marked very roughly, I will admit, on the map. They're not quite as oval as that in reality.
Somebody had fun with paint.
I've never claimed to be good with drawing tools. This is not my
It's
specialty.
perfectly serviceable, and I'm going to have fun trying to say those words, so it's fine.
Excellent. To give you some idea, the Forum is the cultural and governmental heart of the city, and elements of its infrastructure run up towards the Capitoline, to its northwest. The Palatine Hill is already covered in the mansions of the rich and the powerful, and the further east you go from the Forum, the less important the various buildings become, though it is worth pointing out that there are important shrines and temples on the Quirinal, Viminal and Esquiline.
Can you give us the name of some of the really important ones?
The ones that you're really going to care about in this reality is right in the centre of the Forum, on the slightly west of the absolute centre, is the Temple of Vesta.
Vesta. She quite likes virgins, I heard.
All of her priestesses are required to be virgins, yes. There are important shrines to Mars, just outside the Forum to the north, and to Jupiter, just to the east of the Forum.
Yeah.
And south of the Forum is a large open area which is used for all sorts of public entertainments, and where in a century or so the Colosseum will be built. To the west of the Palatine you have the Circus Maximus. This is a racing venue, but it's also used for other kinds of public events. And Rome has many holidays and celebrations throughout the year. So Julius isn't actually running a ludus for gladiators at all. He's a watcher. And having found Clarissa and purchased her, he's built a place for her training, and to train a group of allies to help her in her missions. Night after night, and monster after monster, Clarissa has brought back information on the supernatural threats that stalk the city, each horror carefully described and catalogued on scrolls in the racks around the walls of the martial shrine. And while those threats are varied, some barely worthy of a slayer's attention, others highly perilous, something has slowly come into focus as the time goes by. While all roads may lead to Rome, all monsters lead to Crassus. It is in the businesses, warehouses and apartments owned by Crassus that the most dangerous of foes are often found. It is while Crassus is holding court at some celebration or party, the city distracted and enthralled, that somewhere else some evil takes place unnoticed. And it has been building, as February draws closer. February is the month of the Lupercalia, and of the Quirinalia, the month of Crassus. And of course this year uniquely Crassus is not here, nor are many of his closest and most visible allies. Today, as the sun sinks below the horizon on the 14th of February, is the night before the Lupercalia. But first, there is the night. So, in order to get you guys going, I am going to suggest that we begin with a little bit of training in the Ludus.
Oh, a montage! I love montage.
We are going to do a bit of sparring.
Okay. By the way, just to let everybody know, and I'm not apologising, I'm just saying I'm not going to use any of this Latin-y type vocabulary and language. It's beyond my reach, I'm afraid. So I'm going to be talking like a modern girl, and you'll just have to translate it into, Roman.
It's absolutely fine.
Cool.
I almost jokingly said what I've been working on my classical acting all week, and then I realised that that's a big commitment, and people would expect it then. So I haven't at all.
I mean, Spartacus and Ben-Hur, and I'm pretty much done. Oh, and Oliver Reed in the Gladiator series. That's it, really.
All
it's
right.
fine. I'll just be Lucy Lawless. We'll be great.
So, Julius says to the two of you, why don't you step out and loosen some of the muscles?
Okay. Clarissa goes over to her Slayer supply chest and gets out like all kinds of crazy Roman-looking little shields and bucklers and all sorts of nonsense. And she looks up at Gaius and is like, what are you in the mood for?
I'm in the mood for having a surviving son. So if it's all the same to you, I think with no weapons or armour would be appropriate.
Fine. She puts it all back in the chest.
Oh wait, you still meant, together? I assumed you meant on some of the dummies or the equipment. I'm not quite sure I'm...
They don't pose enough of a challenge.
Come on, I promise I won't kick you as hard as I did last
time. In that case, let's begin.
All right. So the two of you head out into the Ludus and square up. Clarissa is conscious of the fact that she's got a bit of capability over poor Gaius. So, Gaius, I think we should start with you. Let you have the first attempt. So the way this works is really quite simple. You roll a d10 plus...
God, Kelly, take me to dinner first.
Plus your dex value to launch an attack, plus the appropriate skill. If there is no appropriate skill, you can use your core characteristic twice. In this case, however, the key skill we're after is melee. So roll d10 plus plus your dex, which is 4, and your melee, which is 3.
Nice. That is a 6. Well, a 60, but we'll call it a 6 between friends.
A 6 plus 4 plus
Slayer
3 is 13. And then, very simply, we bring up this little thing, which tells us what the sort of value of a success level is. The success level is going to be level 3. However, Clarissa has the opportunity to dodge or block as she chooses. What would you like to do?
I'd like to block, please.
Okie dokie. So for Clarissa, you have a number of useful skills. You're going to block using dex and melee, please.
Dex and melee plus 1d10 roll?
1d10 plus what is effectively 13.
Okay. Okay. 18. I only rolled a 5, but I'm badass.
Excellent. And then, essentially, we take a look at the levels value, and an 18 is a 5, which is more than enough to block the success level 3 attack. Okay?
She makes cool fighting noises. Ooh, like that.
Things get marginally more complicated when we add in weapons and things like that, but hopefully this has given you some sense of how it works. And the key thing is, this is also how you do every kind of skill check in the game, whether it's opposed or not.
Ah, okay.
Cool.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, would you like to have a go back,
People
Clarissa?
grant us boons if they want to in the game.
There's no real way to do a boon in this because it's all one die.
Okay, fair enough.
It would be a really powerful thing
Just a
to be able to do.
reroll would be nice if I'm hitting a 1 and somebody's like, roll again. That'd be cool. It's fine.
You do have the opportunity to do something very, very dramatic if you wish, however, because you have drama points, which you can expend in a number of different ways. In fact, in this scenario, you can expend them in 4 different ways. You can do so at any point you like. You can choose to waste one of your drama points on a heroic feat and add 10 to any roll you make.
Huh.
You can,
And
at any
I
point...
have 10 of these.
Yeah. At any point, you can declare, I think I'm okay, after taking damage. At the cost of a point, you can halve all of the damage you've currently taken. At the cost of a point, you can, once per session, get a plot twist. Something that's looking really bad, you can expend a point and the narrative will change enough to give you a bonus. It could be a clue, it could be an unlikely escape route from a dangerous situation.
An evil willow turns up.
It's ultimately up to me what it will be, but you can expend a point to get it, but that's only once every session.
Okay.
Cool.
And for 2 points, during a single combat, you can get +5 to all attacks, something that's referred to as Righteous Fury.
Oh, yeah, because we're the good guys. I keep forgetting we're the good guys.
Yes,
Okay, that's
Yes.
fine. I'm good.
And
I'm
that
good.
lasts for the whole combat.
that lasts for the entire combat, but drops as soon as you're out of combat.
Cool.
Okay?
Kelly's really living on a prayer tonight. But Kelly would also like to know if somebody spends a boon, can they give you another drama point or refresh them?
I'll tell you what, if you spend a boon, I'll do something. I can't promise it'll be a drama point.
As the best you're going to get,
Wonderful.
Kelly. And can you, Bink would like to know, can you earn the drama points back?
Yes, there are 2 basic ways of doing it. One is through extraordinary acts of heroism, but they're supposed to be kind of at the end of a chapter or at the end of an adventure.
Okay.
The other thing is through really dark times. Bleak losses and defeats and things like that can earn you a drama point.
So they're precious, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you have them, but they don't come back quickly. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So, later, Kelly. I've got one ready. It's fine. Don't worry.
All right. So would Clarissa like to have a go? You don't have to. We've already seen a combat round if you don't want to have a go yourself.
Yeah, I'd like to do something a little bit fancy though,
Okay.
if that's possible, because I got a bit of war and a bit of war.
I want to spend all my drama points.
All of them. No, she wants to. This voice in her head is like, put a blindfold on. So she wants to cover her eyes and see if she can do like a pirouette, and then come to a stop at the right time and try to kick Gaius. So like a blindfold spin,
Yep.
ending in a kick at the right.
Absolutely fine. Roll for your attack, first of all,
Okay.
which is your roll plus 6 plus 7, so plus 13.
Plus 13. 16.
Okay.
It's amazing.
And 16 on the levels chart is a success level of a 4. Are you going to try to block or dodge, or just stand there and take it, guys?
Gaius will try to dodge out of the way
Okay.
and jump backwards, I guess.
All right. Gaius, you have to make a dex move with melee. So you get +7.
7. That is a 2. +7 is a 9.
A 9. That is a success level of 1. So, I'm going to make an assumption here that Clarissa is not, in fact, trying to drive her foot clean through his head.
She's not trying to kill him. No. It's a contact. It's they spar by making contact.
Just a little touch on the cheek with the tip of her toe. But the other thing to bear in mind is that those success levels count for damage.
Oh.
So, in essence, had there been no change, your success level of 5, I think it was, would have given you a +5 to your damage roll, which in melee weapons is determined by your strength.
Oh dear.
Okay, cool. So it's your strength plus whatever the
Strength plus
success level.
Plus, if you're unarmed, essentially, it would be normally 1d10. In actual fact, an elaborate kick would be 2d10 +6 for Clarissa, plus the 5 that she achieved with her success.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We learned last night in Binks and Stevie's stream that's called Revner-ing it. That's a full Revner.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she ripped somebody's head off and it was incredible. It was the most incredible thing. I mean, Bink was amazing too, but Revner destroyed the boss and so that's Revner-ing it. Yeah.
It is undeniably possible to do enormously fatal damage very, very quickly in this game. It is, however, a game that also includes things like magic.
I have no magic. None. Look at that, none.
No.
And I'm bad at science.
In the Buffyverse, it is entirely possible for anybody to attempt magic, and frequently do, with humorous or catastrophic results. Magic almost always has some kind of downside available. Not only is Gaius quite skilled in his sort of knowledge and understanding of the world, he has a decent intelligence and he's useful at these kinds of things. He also has a very high occultism, and on top of that, he's a practiced sorcerer. He is a very potent ally. Now, in order to create a spell, because that, believe it or not, is what you do, in the Buffyverse, there is no sort of major spell book. You encounter spells as you need them, or create them from the ground up.
That sounds fun.
So you can come up with a spell to do pretty much whatever you want. However, you have to bear in mind that the more potent it is, and potency in this game means the number of people it affects, how long it lasts, and how much damage or how much effect it has. Those three things can be added together to produce a difficulty level, a power level for the spell. And if you hit that power level with the effect of your roll, then everything goes brilliantly. And the spell casts exactly the way you think it should, and it's
without
lovely.
any irony at all.
It all goes brilliantly. However, if you fall short in the power rating, so in that list of the levels, if you've tried to cast a level 5 spell and you only get a level 3 effect, then not only does the spell sometimes fail, it also has an unfortunate habit of causing secondary effects. It is therefore
Pause there.
it is therefore ideal, if you can, to define exactly as much spell as you need and no more to achieve the objective you want.
Cool.
Okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, you're going to have some fun with that one. Ugh, a bit jelly.
But you can absolutely design your own spells. And in fact, you normally would.
That's very cool. I like that as a system. That sounds really good.
It is quite fun, I think.
Yeah. Hey,
Sparrow. Oh, thank you for
Hi,
joining us.
Sparrow.
Lovely to have you with us. We've basically just been going through the mechanics and introducing the characters. You haven't missed much in the way of plot.
Ewan gets to make up magic spells without any irony at all. It's going to be great.
Yeah. It is. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
So, having loosened your muscles a little, and I hope you've got a broad understanding of how the combat system works, and you're reasonably confident with the qualities of your characters. Julius calls the pair of you back into what is, at least outwardly, the Temple of Mars at the Ludus. It isn't laid out like a Temple of Mars inside. It's just filled with tables and shelves that are crammed with scrolls of lore, filled with the in-universe version of the Monster Manual, basically. Yes, that's exactly what happened, Kelly. Only she did pull her kick a bit.
A lie.
Thank goodness she pulled her kick.
because yeah, she was capable of landing it. Put it that way.
I've never felt this cool in my whole life.
You have talents. What can I say? You're not only a slayer naturally, you've also been trained by a watcher.
I mean, come on. Yeah.
So the Ludus is close to the Circus Maximus, nestled between.
Okay, so which of our squares is the Ludus?
It's essentially just between. It's just above the V in Circus.
Oh, nice. It's the one by itself. Cool. That's easy to remember.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it is a fairly central location. It is a nice place to be when there are games at the circus. Very convenient. And if you know the Circus Maximus, you'll know that though there are some surrounding raised parts, the actual circus itself is sunk. So from the roof of the Ludus, you can usually look over and actually see the games without having to even walk over to the Circus Maximus.
I mean, if Gaius wanted to get in, I could always just kick him over the wall, apparently. That'd be fine. Save your trip.
I mean, if you wanted to kill me as well, I'm sure.
You could use magic on the way down and not land that hard. It'd be fine.
It would probably be quite fatal, yes, being kicked over a wall by a slayer.
He says, dusting off his clothes from where he clearly fell over from the pulled kick. That would have brained him anyway, but you know.
Yes. So you're called back into the Temple of Mars, which is in fact effectively a library.
Hello, Julius. I didn't hurt him this time.
Pleased to see it. Yes, thank you for that. So, the sun has gone down. Everything we know suggests that bad things are building over the next few days. And with Crassus's men out in the south of Italy, we may have an opportunity to do something about it this year. But I have nothing in particular to send you to. I thought maybe you could keep an eye on the Lupercalia tomorrow, but until then, perhaps you should patrol, see if there's anything going on in the city.
You do have all the visitors coming into the town and all the gossip and the rumours that set up in the, the various places. Where do people stay in Rome? Like inns and taverns and stuff? I don't know. What happens?
There are boarding houses all over the eastern part of the city. Okay. Many of them used for soldiers when they're visiting the city. But almost anyone who visits the city for more personal reasons will have family in the city.
And where exactly is Crassus's villa?
Crassus's palace is on the Palatine Hill.
Is he the one above the A?
He's
the first A because it's the closest to the river.
He's in actual fact the one above the second A.
Oh, so close.
Of course. I mean, the central location, key to the Palatine. He'd want to be right in the hub of everything, wouldn't he?
And do we know anybody? Like, am I connected to like the slave network? Because they must all chat when they go to the market or something. There's lots of rumours and ways of spreading information and stuff. Do I know anybody? Does Guys know anybody?
Well, you certainly have made a few friends among fellow slaves, partly because you're a bit unusual. You're not all that brilliant at being servile, even when people are watching. You do your best to, keep up the disguise, but you're not all that great at it.
It's like life imitating art, really, isn't it?
You give it a try, but it's not easy for you.
Look, they get a bit handsy after the wine. It's just uncomfortable. I don't like it.
You technically, and I mean certainly legally, you have as your partner on these sort of missions Gaius, who is the son of your owner. But when you're actually, doing the real job you have, he is more the sidekick than the lead actor, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I won't mention it if you won't, Gaius. But, follow me is all I'm saying. Let's just walk around and see if anything comes up. See, what the word on the street is. Because, normally things get, people are getting excited. They're looking forward to the big festival. There's already some drink flowing. Mm-hmm. Let's go and see what's out and about around the forum, maybe.
All right. Okay. So you head out, heading towards the forum, and you've got a number of different routes you can go. You can skirt the southern edge of the Palatine. You can go straight over the top of it if you prefer.
What do you think, guys? I mean, I'm whichever way.
Well, should we swing past Crassus's palace?
All right.
Yeah.
Just taking the views.
Can you do the usual thing of holding like this, and she's in the chest and she's just handing him some stuff that might be useful? Because of course, as a slave, if she gets caught like carrying weapons, she's in a lot of trouble. But Gaius, being the son of a relatively well-known and well-respected fellow, isn't going to get stopped and checked at all. So she kind of uses him as her walking weapons chest.
Okay.
I mean, sure, we could always do that thing we did before when, I just said that you're carrying them for me. But I'd do it this way.
Sure.
That makes sense.
I just like telling you to do stuff.
Sorry.
Okay.
Cool. I mean, not cool, because we wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Latin word for cold is. Freudus.
Probably is, yes.
Just go with it. It's fine.
Okay. So you set off, heading largely north up the side of the Palatine, looking for the opportunity to turn up the slope of the hill towards Crassus's palace. And as you make your journey, I think this is more likely to be a Gaius thing. Can you roll a notice for me, please? That's perception plus notice, so it's a +5.
That's a 3 +5. It's an 8.
An 8, okay. You make your way up the side of the circus, and not really paying enough attention, you see a wagon pull into the road in front of you, but don't notice anything particularly unusual about it. It heads down a narrow passageway, and alongside you on the street, a slave carrying a large amphora of olive oil crosses over on the zebra crossing and then turns left down the same alley. Your attention isn't particularly drawn, but she's the only person around.
You see, that person knows how to carry things for their owner. And
Seriously?
Joking.
Look at it. Huge urn. She's collapsing under the weight of it. What are you talking about?
This is oddly perfect. This is so this is so good. As you're actually having this discussion, you notice she's only made it a few yards down the road when suddenly the wagon that's just in front of her stops, and two very large, heavy-set men drop down and come sprinting straight towards her. In panic, she drops her amphora on the ground, and it lands with complete silence. It shatters in 1,000 directions, and not a single sound is heard. She turns to run. You can see her mouth opening, and she's trying to scream, but there is no sound. Absolutely none.
Trouble. And I start running.
Okay.
Yeah, holding weapons up. Gaius follows after.
Okay.
Did I just turn you to Xander?
So,
It feels fitting.
the two guys have reached the woman and are attacking her. They are probably breathing hard. One has just delivered a punch to the side of her head in the hope of subduing her. Another is pulling out a fairly substantial looking Hessian type bag, which he's trying to put over her head and shoulders.
No.
But you can't hear them either. Not a single sound. There was no sound of the punch. There was no sound of anything as you close right up to them, grabbing whatever weapon you were handed. So, Gaius, what did you hand her?
Do I have anything in particular, or can I just make up whatever I...
I'm guessing there's like a small... it's a sword of gladius? I think it's a gladius.
A short sword would be a gladius, yes.
Ah, I knew a thing! Yes! Gladius, stabby, pointy stake. Probably that's about it. I don't know how much influence... No, not the trident and the net. She saves them for spash. It's not date night, calm down.
They're not concealable, really, are they? I mean, the net might be, but...
All right.
You can wear the net as a really fetching cape.
Yeah. Is that perfectly acceptable, Ren? Short sword?
Absolutely. A gladius is fine. And you race into combat. Now, Gaius, are you following close behind?
He will definitely try and keep up as much as he can, but as soon as, if there's a point at all that he stops hearing his footsteps, he will stop.
Okay.
I suppose.
I mean, to be fair, it's only two blokes. I'm pretty sure he would know by now to just, hang fire and then maybe evacuate the girl if ever she's let loose.
All right. You arrive at the combat pretty much at the same moment as indeed Gaius notices that the slamming of his feet on the stone suddenly no longer makes a sound. About 10 metres away from the fight.
Huh. Clarissa adopts a position and then gives a jaunty one-liner to announce her arrival, and of course no sound comes out and she looks a bit
Absolutely none. Yeah.
Because it was a cracking line as well.
The good news is, in all of the confusion, it's true that the two men have not seen you coming. Now, this RPG has an interesting system for initiative. Rounds are considered simultaneous rather than necessarily taking turns, and at the beginning of each turn,
Ooh.
you decide what you want to do and then describe it in moderate detail. And then I get to choose, based on what you've decided to do, whether or not you're at the beginning or at the end of the initiative order. So if you said you were shooting a crossbow but you want to really take aim, then you'd be likely to go last. Whereas if you're, leaping into the fray, fists wheeling, you probably go at the beginning, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So both of you can describe to me exactly what you're doing at that moment when you've stopped about 10 metres back, taken a pace back to get to the point where you can hear things again, or make your own sounds again. And Clarissa, that's where you're going in. So you both get a chance to describe what you want to do.
She has had the time to, watch them and figure out that they're both very focused on the girl. They've got almost their backs to her. She's coming on them from sort of, if them facing forward is 12 o'clock, she's coming at them from about 5 o'clock.
Yep.
So she's kind of coming from behind. Her idea would be to kind of jump off one of them. I'm totally stealing this from somebody last night. Jump off one of them. And try and knock him or stun him or surprise him. And then as she lands, swipe her sword across the other one, aiming for sort of under his arm and into his ribs.
Okay.
But in a slash.
All right. That's fine. That's what you might call a bold attack. And Gaius, what are you doing?
I have a quick rules question, which Kelly also brought up. Do you need to be able to make noise or speak to cast spells?
It depends on the level of ritual associated with the spell. So broadly speaking, if something requires an insane amount of preparation and ritual, it is in fact easier to cast. If you needed to cast something in complete silence, it would be harder.
Okay, so it would affect the roll I would need
so
to make.
Generally speaking, you could do the same effect with silence, but it would cost you typically an extra 1 or 2 difficulties.
Cool, that makes sense. And the other point I just wanted to ask was drama points. If I'm affecting the roll, do I spend them before the roll or after, or does it matter?
If you're
Luke! Hi, Luke.
Hello, Luke.
Hey, Luke.
If you're affecting the roll with drama points, just a quick reminder, I'll bring that up again. The heroic feat roll, you can add +10 to any roll.
Yeah.
There is another thing that you can do with drama points in terms of affecting an outcome where it's absolutely critical. You can raise the success level for using various effects, but one of those, if you look, that's the wrong thing entirely. How about let me try this. There are values you can do with various choices where you can actually raise the stakes of a thing by burning through some of your key skill points, and one of those is your good luck. You have the ability to use up good luck once in a session, and you can use any of those points to add between +1 and +4, depending on how many you use in a session, to increase the capabilities of your roll as well. So just bear that in mind if you need it.
Yeah. Cool. The +10, do I need to declare that before I roll the dice?
Yes, you need to declare it before you roll.
Okay, cool. That makes sense, I guess, seeing as it is a heroic feat.
Yeah.
Are you about to spend all your pennies in the first round of the first combat?
No, not at all. I would like Gaius will step into the zone of silence, I guess, or when he hears his footsteps no longer making noise, and go to shout, take a step back, and he'll shout over to the slave purse girl, quick, this way, and I'd like to cast a spell to break any grip that they may have on her.
Okay.
To,
all right.
Free her movement.
We didn't ask, can sound penetrate this silent spot? Is it just we can't make sound? Can we still hear sound?
You
Does
can
sound
still
exist?
hear the sounds of the city around you, yes. Okay.
Does sound exist?
If a person shouts something and you're in this zone of silence, do they still make a sound?
Does it still make a sound? Yes, says Ben, quite simply.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So let's calculate your spell power rating first. You want the duration to essentially be instant. The strength is going to be a +1 requirement because it's going to have an actual combat effect, but it's not a huge one. And you want it to affect essentially 2 people, don't you? The 2 people who are grappling with her.
Yeah, if they've both got a grip on her, then yes.
Okay, so that's a total of +3 on the spell power ratings. You're casting a completely normal kind of spell. It requires a little bit of voice and a little bit of everything as called. So, you need to make a spell roll, please. In order to do that, if I bring up the thing as a guide, you get to use your willpower, which is 6, and your occultism, which is 7. So a total of +13, please.
So he's just really stubborn and really weird. Willpower of 6, occult of 7.
Are you talking about me or Gaius?
Yeah, well, let's go with Gaius.
That's an 8 plus 13.
8 plus 13.
Whoa.
Seems pretty good.
So 8 plus 13. If maths still worked the same way when you had to do it with letters, I make 21. Which is a success level of 6. The spell you were trying to cast was a success level would have required a success level of 3. Okay. You cast your spell, and as you do, the 2 guys just suddenly and unaccountably, it's like they slip, they lose grip on the woman they are grappling. And it is at that moment that the Slayer hits them.
Nice.
So, Clarissa, your
Sorry, Luke just said something that's potentially filthy.
Your attack is going to be an attack against 2 different people. The way this works is that you take your first attack, but lose 1 success level on it, and then the second attack is a further success level lost beyond that.
I mean, she's only planning to bounce off his side like he's a wall. I mean, if we're calling it attack, then I'm going to aim for his head and bounce off his head.
That's fine, but you can deliver 2 attacks. You can absolutely do that.
Well, in that case, I'm going to bounce off his head and knock the first one flying, and then the second one, I'm going to land with a sword, like going straight into it.
Brilliant. Okay, so this is a dex, please.
Yeah, so that's 10 plus...
Plus 6, plus your melee for the first one.
Okay, so 10 plus 13 again.
Yep, which is D10 plus 13.
15.
A total of 15. Excellent stuff.
I could have rolled better. I feel
A
that's a
15 would be a 4. It's actually a 3 because you're doing a double attack.
Yeah.
So the damage on him, please, is 2d10 for your kick, plus 3, plus 6. So 2d10 plus 9, please.
14.
Total of 14. Okay.
Yeah.
He did not manage to reduce that at all. He actually had a non-success in his attempt to dodge as you came in. So that is enough to send him absolutely flying across the alley. And then you lose a level, and if it was 26, wasn't it, your total?
26 for what?
Sorry, the total you rolled, it was a 6, so it was 21, I think.
15. The first
attack
roll
was a 21, which became a...
No, it was a 15, which became a 13.
15.
Wait, was it a 21? What are we talking about? I'm lost. I think
it was 13 plus some... Oh, it was 15. You're quite right. Yes.
Yeah, it was 15.
15. Okay.
Yeah.
So it became a level 3. This one is actually it's 2 less because you're attacking with a sword, which does more damage, but you're not quite as skilled with it. And
so 1d10 plus 13, but I lose 2.
So you lose 2 off that 15, which is 3. Which
I
is
don't make
13.
a separate roll for the second attack.
No, it's all one attack.
Oh, okay.
So that's a 13 minus 2 levels.
Oof.
Which, thankfully, a 13 is a level 3 hit, but only just. So you just make a successful land with the sword for a success level of 1 with a 9. So your second one goes in. This is a sword. This is a 4d10 plus 1.
Okay. 4d10 plus... Oh, come on. I'm rolling like I did in Overgrown. 10. It's a whole total of 10. Like, it's terrible. Oh, plus 1. No, that is with the...
4d10 plus 1.
4d10 plus 1. That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to roll that one again. Sorry.
4d10s. And then add 1.
4d10. Yeah, I put in 4d10 plus 1 in it. 17, but I still think that's wrong. Anyway.
17 could be right.
Well, it only showed the result of the 4Ds, not the plus 1, so I'm going to say 18.
Yes, and then plus your strength, please. So plus 6. Thank you, Kelly. I'd forgotten that.
Oh, 23.
23. Okay. And the person goes down hard. That is enough to put him down. Now, neither of them are actually dead, but they are both really struggling on the ground.
She silently mouths another catchy one-liner, and then points at the girl to run to Gaius.
The girl is pulling the bag off her head, and she's shaking her head, looking around in absolute chaos, and she's beginning to sob a little bit and yelling out in confusion, and is petrified that no sound's coming out.
Clarissa kind of rolls her eyes and she motions to Gaius, and then she kind of mimes, hug her over there. And then she's like, just assumes that that's what's going to happen, and she starts taking off to the wagon.
Well, the wagon's just parked a few yards away.
Oh, I thought it was still rolling. Okay.
No.
Can she see anything? I thought I'll wait for Gaius to do his thing.
Okay, Gaius, what are you doing?
That is a very good question. The two people are taking care. They're on the floor, right?
Yeah, they're not dead, but they are not getting up anytime soon. Put it that way.
Gaius will start beckoning the girl over with one hand. Can I don't want to go too crazy on the spells, but can I cast another spell, Ben, to try and get rid of this zone of silence?
Absolutely. Yeah, why not? Absolutely wouldn't stop you doing that. That would be rude. So yes, let's try to do that. So your spell will be to the... You want to just try and stop it temporarily, or stop it permanently, or what?
Permanently, just to get rid of whatever. I assume magic is causing this effect.
Yep. Okay. The magical effect you can feel, but you don't actually have sight of whatever's causing it. But it's in this case going to be 3, 6, 7 is the difficulty you've got to hit.
Cool. That is a 3 plus... I forget.
13.
13.
16 total. Which is a 4. You're in the process of casting your spell, and you release it, and it just doesn't seem to land. There's nothing functional coming out of the end of it. And I need you to roll a d10 for me, please, and add 7.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
That sounds like a defense roll.
Sounds like some kind of mishap may happen. That is a 7 plus 7 is a 14.
A total of 14?
Yeah, double 7s.
This is, I'm sure, excellent, and nothing can possibly go wrong.
Oh, good.
I'm sure...
Just
I'm
what I
to
was
save
after.
you again, guys. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm
Why?
absolutely sure this will work.
Uh-oh.
14?
I need a list of Roman gods that I can call upon.
Pray to.
Okay.
Silently pray to.
Is there a god of silence? I wonder.
All right. The spell dissipates from your hand. It's just a little bit unfocused in your mind, and it strikes down the wagon at one of the horses towing it, and the horse lets out this absolutely ungodly scream which tears through the night and bolts, the other one being almost dragged along in its wake as the wagon suddenly accelerates down the road.
Good God. Clarissa kind of looks over her shoulder at Gaius and sort of like, what? Huh?
Shrug.
Just decides to ignore the horse. And can she see? Is the back of the wagon open? Are there people in there? Can she see anything in it at all?
The back of the wagon appears to be open at the rear and flat and empty, but there's a sort of tarpaulin half hanging down, or sort of a sackcloth thing half hanging down, obscuring part of it. There's nothing obvious.
Can she pull down the sackcloth and just have a good look around?
If she wants to pursue the wagon, sure.
Oh, it's taken off. I mean, she was already running after it, right? So yes, please, she'd like to
Okay.
see if she can vault after that in that clever, cool way.
All right. If you want to head off after it,
Yes, please.
can you make a dex check for me, please?
How do I do that? Roll 1d10.
1d10 plus
dexterity?
12.
Oh. Can you just explain why I get 12?
Yeah, because you always add 2 things. This is pure dexterity,
Okay.
and so you add dex twice. There's no specific skill necessary for it.
Nice. 20.
Total of 20. All right.
Mhm.
All right. You set off, and as you do, your foot slips in the oil that shattered all over the road.
Bastards.
But this, which would have decked anyone who wasn't quite as agile and nimble as a slayer, nonetheless merely slows you down by half a pace as you take off down the street. You catch the wagon. What are you doing? Are you climbing in the back?
Climbing the back, I'm assuming it's just one of those where it's just a frame with some skin or something stretched over it, so I can go straight the way through to the front of it and stop the horses if needs be.
Absolutely, yes.
So that's what she's going to try to do. She's going to make sure that the back of the wagon is empty and that there's no kind of magic paraphernalia or whatnot. And assuming it's all clear, she's going to go straight the way through and try and grab the reins and bring the horses back under control.
All right, can you roll a notice for me? That's 4 plus 2, so 6 plus 10, please.
6 plus 10, so that's a 1. Oh, so everything is a 1d6 plus 6 plus
Sorry,
10.
1d10 plus
1d10.
6. That way round,
Plus 6, okay. Oh, I'm so bad at this. Roll. $12.
12, okay. As you make your way through, you can see that the wagon inside, even though it's quite dark in there, there appear to be a set of lengths of rope cut to suitable, 4 or 5 foot lengths, and several of these sacks and Hessian bags, but nothing else of note in there. And you make it through to the front, vault over into the sort of bench seat across the front of the wagon, grab hold of the reins and pull hard to bring the horses to a stop.
And how far from Gaius and the girl am I by the time the horses
By now, you're probably the best part of 100 yards away.
Okay, that's not too bad.
And you can now hear your breathing. You can hear you're bumping into the wagon, and you've heard yourself land in the back of it. However, the horse is not stopping. It is ignoring the reins completely.
Oh. Okay, so we have a wild horse, and the wagon, I'm assuming, is being pulled along with the horse then, or is the horse now free?
The horse is pulling the wagon as best it can, yes. The other horse is running with it, just in sympathy almost.
Okay, it's got no choice.
But the first horse is absolutely panicked and is not slowing down.
Okay, she is going to try to climb over the tack onto the back of the panicking horse and try to sort of grab its bridle and soothe it and, just somehow bring it, like, by riding it to a stop. Because sometimes these horses are calmed by having a person on their back instead of just blindly running, towing something behind them.
I think that's a really brilliant idea. I'm going to ask you to do
That almost sounded sarcastic, Ben.
an acrobatics check for me, please. So that's 6 plus 6 plus a d10. So d10 plus 12.
14. Oh my god, my rolls are so bad. 14.
14.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad. All right. As the horses and the wagon thunder down towards the next major junction at the other end of the street, you finally manage to get control of the animal, landing across its back and holding onto its neck and just sort of turning its head and pushing its nose down to discourage it from running blind.
Yeah, and talking to it and shortening the rein.
And it does indeed come to a stop, trembling and shocked in the street.
She just kind of leans over and is whispering into the horse and kind of just stroking its neck and just generally trying to calm it down and oblivious to everything else. She's just really concentrating because what she doesn't want is a horse bolting through the city, because that's precisely that. It's going to be wildly dangerous. But also, presumably, somebody's going to want this wagon back.
Well, possibly, yes. Thank you, Bink. That's very nice of you to join us.
Thanks.
Yes, you have control of the wagon. It's not a very wide street. If you want to take it back the way you've come, you probably have to lead it out of the end and turn it round.
Is there like a hitching rail? I take it we're outside the circus still. We're just at the end of that road. So is there a hitching rail where she could tie it off for a minute?
Yes. At this end of the street you're actually in, before you leave into the main street that cuts alongside the Tiber, Yes, there is a place to tie up a horse.
Okay, so that's what she does. She ties up the horses, makes sure that they're secure and that the horse isn't going to bolt, but also that he's not blinkered so he can see his buddy, like the other horse. And then can she give the back of the wagon a final check before she goes back towards Gaius?
Yes, certainly. Your role was good enough that now you've got time and patience. Yes, you can. There's nothing else that really leaps out at you. It looks like a pretty generic wagon, and it looks like what is essentially a crime kit prepared in the back.
A crime kit?
Yeah, this is
glass cutters, bolt cutters,
no
crowbar.
sacks and rope. This is an abduction kit.
An abduction kit. Oh. Okay, so she's seen everything she needs. She gets out and starts running back up towards Gaius.
Okay. All right, Gaius, what are you up to?
Gaius has, after seeing that triumphant spell that he cast, has run into the area of silence and gone up to the person who has now been rescued, thanks to our vampire slayer, and started shouting at them, "Come on, quick, let's go!" Before realising that there is no sound. Grabbing them, and I guess they start to run the way that they came, but depending on where we are in the timeline, when they see
Clarissa.
When they see, thank you, Clarissa, run
You've
after
only known me 3
the
years.
wagon. I suppose it feels more like about 2 hours. When they see Clarissa run after the wagon, they'll stop and they'll start pulling them the other way.
Okay.
Running towards Clarissa.
So you're
how's the slave girl doing?
You're taking the slave down towards Clarissa.
Yes. I mean, I won't drag her the whole way. I'll sort of, I can't communicate to her to run, so
No, but you can put an arm around her shoulders.
Yeah, I put sort of like gesture her along, and then when she starts running, she's on her own.
And to be fair, she's already seen what you do to horses you don't like, so she's
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That makes perfect sense to me. Can you begin by rolling a perception and intellect for me, please? So that's a total of +7.
That's a 5 + 7. Makes 12.
12, yeah. Okay. She is still looking absolutely shell-shocked, but she's worked out that you weren't part of the people who was after her. You were part of the people who went after the people who were after her. And she walks rather numbly, very blank expression, 1,000-yard stare, alongside you down the road. And after some meters, you're maybe 8 or 10 meters away from where the guys are lying, moaning in the gutter and bleeding fairly heavily in one case. You start to hear her sobbing.
Oh, we're back to sound. He'll say he won't say that. He'll say, "Don't worry, it's fine. My friend can take care of us. Let's carry on and continue on towards Clarissa."
All right. Okay. You will meet, roughly halfway down this street, perhaps.
So Clarissa takes a look at the girl and makes sure that Gaius is okay. But she's still kind of, and then realizes that she can be heard again. And then she's just kind of, are you both okay? I've got to go, and there was nothing in the wagon. I'm going to go and see what they're all about. But we should probably get her off the street. Shall we take her back to the Ludus?
Gus will turn to her and say, "What are you okay? Where were you going?"
Oh, I just want to go, and there was nothing. I have no idea who they were, but they're bound to have something on them that You know, people don't just jump out of wagons and try to attack slave girls.
Oh no, sorry. He'll totally turn to the person that you've just rescued and say that. No,
Oh,
not to
okay,
me.
sorry.
Like
I was a
before
bit
we
confused.
decide
I was
where
like,
we're going to take her.
No, that's fine.
She mumbles something about heading down to a house by the Tiber.
Do you want to go? Do you need to get back quickly? We've got a safe place that we can.
She's not making a great deal of sense, but she makes some mumbling about the fact that if she's out much longer, search parties will be sent for her and what have you, and it's probably better she go back without the oil than not make it back at all.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's talk to. Well,
I'm really worried that if they've tried to take you once, they're going to try again. We've got to understand what it is about you that they wanted.
but
Okay.
we can take her home, right? We can walk her back to make sure she gets there okay. After
Sure.
after you've done any.
Who is your owner? Like, we haven't even asked who owns her. Maybe it's some asshole. Maybe it's that Pompey guy. I don't know.
She looks at her feet briefly and then says, Banius. Banius.
Banius. The cloth guy?
He's a merchant. He has warehouses in Ostia.
Okay. Well, you guys go on ahead and I'll catch you up. I just want to go look at these two. I'll be right there.
Okay. So are you heading off in that direction, Gaius, towards the House of Banius?
Yes, Gaius will walk with her in that direction, I suppose.
Okay. You wander out into the street as normal. Can you quickly make a perception check for me, please?
Can indeed. I'll roll the dice.
That's perception is 2, and you can have notice for that as well, please. So +5.
Wonderful. That's a 4 + 5 is a 9.
Okay. The street seems quiet. It seems calm. The nature of the attack being so literally silent means that nobody seems to have been particularly disturbed by it.
Okay, perfect. He doesn't have much to say, I suppose, at this point. He'll probably be replaying in his head as they walk back the failed attempt at a spell and the effect it had on the horses, and just be trying to learn from his mistakes.
Replaying it in his mind.
I'm telling your dad.
You're going to slowly walk her back to her house. It's at the pace you're going, it's going to take a few minutes, but it's not a long journey. To the banks of the Tiber, it's pretty much a straight run north between what's left of the circus's northern edge and the Palatine. It's a very short walk, really. So,
This doesn't sound good. It being such a short walk, I might not have time to catch up with you.
So while they're not moving quickly. The slave is not completely recovered yet. She's unhurt.
Yeah.
So okay, Clarissa, what are you doing?
Hi. So she goes over to the guys that are on the floor. Obviously, it's really bad form to leave corpses or near corpses in the middle of the road. So, plus it's a festival weekend, so heightened police presence. I know how Glasgow works. So she's going to try and pull them to some darkened corner off the main street, the bleeding, almost dead one first. And she's going to try to find any kind of, just quickly frisk him for insignia, medallions, a ring, some kind of belt buckle, anything that might identify who he belongs to, because he's clearly hired help. Rich people don't leap out of the back of wagons and try to abduct slaves. They buy them on the market. So she's trying to figure out what he's on about, but also she's aware that at any minute a passerby could come and notice two men lying in the street and alert the authorities. So she's going to try and move them out of plain sight as well.
Okay. You take a look at the guys. It's now time we've got some opportunity to examine them a bit more closely. The one you stabbed is clearly going to die fairly soon. The other one may well recover, but he's taken a hell of a knock and is unconscious and unresponsive. They're wearing identical cloaks, not just identical in colour, but of cut and everything, like they were issued by someone
Uniform.
as a job lot. They're of blood red colour, the cloaks thrown over their bodies, and they're clasped at the front with an identical design, a clasp bearing the motif of a pair of crossed swords.
Okay. Does that seem familiar? Is that like the emblem of any kind of god or priesthood or anything that I might know about?
Well, that sounds like something you can have a roll for.
Well, how brilliant.
So,
Let's do that.
yes, I think in this case you can have a knowledge roll, please. That's intellect, which is 2, knowledge, which is 1, so +3.
Oh, 12. My best roll yet. I got a 9 on that one.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
It's not familiar to you beyond the fact that if you were guessing, the nature of it being swords might imply that it could be associated with one of the martial cults.
Okay. She's going to move them both to one side, and as they're not going to put up any resistance at all, she's going to take one of these brooches and just leave them there, really, and hopefully in the darkened corner of some whatever, she's going to take that and then jog to catch up with the other two.
Okay, all right. You trot down the road quite straightforwardly, passing the wagon as you do, which is still tied up at the end there. The horse that was maddened is now very much calmer.
Okay.
And seems to be sort of just waiting patiently to be led home whenever someone will untie it. So it might be waiting a while, I'm guessing. You can trot past, or of course you can take the wagon with you.
No, I think the wagon will be too conspicuous, and I think Julius will tell me off because he's really, really sick of me bringing shit home at this point. Birds, cats, dogs, stray men sometimes. He's like, no, you're a slave.
There's only so many wagons you can space.
Yeah, and his car park's full, frankly, of just unwanted wagons. So she's not going to take the wagon. And she's outside the circus. Like, it's tied up outside the circus on a weekend where the city is full to bursting with people. So somebody's going to take care of the horses and notice that nobody's with it. So she's just going to carry on and catch up with the others.
Okay. Obviously, you did notice as you left the two guys that 10 metres or so away from them, your sound came back again, as always.
Yeah.
And you trot along and you catch up with...
Oh, schnooks. I should have checked if there was anything on the ground that hampered, like some little trick or posy or something. I didn't look. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
So you catch up with Gaius as he's approaching the house which the slave has indicated is where she's destined.
Did you get anything from him?
Yeah, I got this weird brooch thing. I don't know what. I think it's like a martial cult, or I don't know. Well, ask Julius, or you might know.
That sounds sensible. Definitely. Well, he knows his occult.
No, I'm just laughing at Kelly.
Who?
Kelly's got like a whole sideline of Clarissa's stolen goods going on.
No, I totally know who you meant, but Gaius doesn't.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, I was a character.
It's all right, I'm only joking.
She's like, okay, so Clarissa, sorry, I need to stay focused. She looks at the girl and she's like, are you sure that you're going to be fine? I should have taken both brooches, then we could have given one to the slave owner. Damn. Are you sure you're okay? You're fine going home. Guys will take care of you and explain everything. And he comes from a really good home. They're not gonna. I don't know. Hopefully, take any. Are you okay?
She slowly nods and says, "Yes, thank you," and reaches up to a knock on the door to her owner's house. And if you stick around, it'll be answered in a moment.
Guys will just say, "Oh, you should have got 2 brooches so that we can disclose ourselves." But hey, you're the, and he'll go to say Slayer and then stop before he.
Because she's looking hungrily at his shin as if she wants to kick it again.
Yes, you're the slave girl.
You're the slave.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know what's going on.
She's going to adopt the slave position where she's standing behind Gaius, hands clasped in front of her, eyes on the floor, suddenly servile, and she whispers to Gaius, "Don't say a word."
Okay, the door opens, and a young man opens the door. Clearly, based on how he's dressed, he's another slave of the household. But on seeing the girl in front of him, he immediately sort of takes her by the shoulder and leads her inside and calls for his master. And it's just seconds later that Banius arrives in the foyer. And he looks genuinely quite confused at these strangers and the way his slave looks. And so much so that he seems to not be paying all that much attention to the fact that she didn't actually bring him the oil he asked for.
Banius, is it?
Yes.
My apologies for interrupting at this time of night. I by chance came across your slave here being attacked by 2 men in the street. It looked as though they were trying to abduct her, but I managed to fend them off, and here we are.
Well, thank you. That's really tremendously kind. Why on earth would someone want to abduct her?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can only assume the way the city is at the minute that people are taking anything. They did break your oil. I assume it was your oil that the young girl was collecting.
Yes. Well, I mean,
entirely not her fault, I would add.
The oil is a relatively minor loss, I think.
Of course.
Yes, he turns and orders the slave who answered the door to take the girl into the house and make sure she's taken care of. And then he turns back and says, "Well, thank you once again. That's tremendously kind of you. I would miss her if she was gone. She's excellent."
Yes, well, we can't just have people going around abducting people in the streets. It's absurd, isn't it? Anyone would have done the same as I did.
You say that. I'm not sure I'd have had the courage, but thank you.
My pleasure. Well, I'll let you get back to your evening.
Thank you. Very kind.
Good night.
And he closes the door, not slamming it or anything, but closes the door and goes about his evening.
Gaius immediately turns around and takes a step back away from from Clarissa, as if he's expecting some kind of retribution for taking credit for.
No. Yeah, fine. I mean,
Listen, it's totally. I've got to sell a believable story. I couldn't exactly
Fine.
say, "Oh, my slave, the Slayer here,
the slave
fended off,
slayer. Is that what you were going to say? The slaves? Like, seriously? Fine, whatever.
fended off the two attackers and saved us all."
I'm really surprised you didn't flex your great big muscles, guys. Let's go home.
Okay.
I mean, we've been out 10 minutes.
Well, I have to show this brooch to Julius. He might know what it's about.
All
That's
right.
very true.
Well, it's worth pointing out the quickest route back, though by no means the only one, is back down the same road you've just been through.
Well, that's a fun time. Let's
Do
do
we?
that.
Do you want to go see if they're still there? We could always load them in the wagon and take them back to Julius's. I know he's fed up of you bringing wagons home, but if there's a reason behind it, he can be quite understandable.
I think he'd be happy with just the brooch. Plus, I mean, I know where I put them. They're going to be there for a while. If he wants me to... I mean, one of them probably won't be alive for, well, now. But the other one we could... If he wants me to. I mean, you know, let's... Yeah. What was that spell you did? That was terrible.
Which one?
You know,
so many spells I did. So many.
Screaming horse galloping down the street.
I mean,
chaos,
half of them
drama.
I don't think you even would have noticed that they happened because they were so, I was just firing them off left, right and centre.
I mean, that is why everybody finds you so very impressive, guys. But I'm assuming we're bantering as we go back to the leader.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you make your way back. You pass the horse first, of course, or the wagon first with the horses. They're still there, calmly waiting.
The horse definitely comes first, then the wagon.
And then you
I discreetly point to where I hid the bodies. I mean, the one body, the other person.
yes, neither of them were dead when you left them.
Okay.
But as you arrive, obviously they're still making absolutely no usable sound, and as you cross within a handful of meters of them, neither are you suddenly. Your footfalls are silent.
Are they still there?
Yes, both of them are.
Do you, I can't even communicate. Guys will start trying to communicate and just slump into a
So wait,
resigned...
the zone of silence has moved. It's no longer in the middle of the street. It's now centered on the dark corner where the men are.
As far as you could tell, yeah.
I sort of vaguely and clumsily mime this to Gaius, like, no, here from that, no, here, and then I point at the men.
Would Gaius have any knowledge of this sort of... why this could be?
It's worth a check, I think. Can you make a roll with occultism and... Well, no, I suppose this is knowledge and knowledge and intellect. So 5 plus 4, 9, so it's plus 9.
And that is a 5, so 14 total.
A total of 14. Okay. You haven't seen this before, but it's clearly a magical effect, and something that therefore presumably they either cast or had cast on them, or a magical item of some kind.
Okay. He'll nod his head and just shrug and look around, I guess.
I point to the one who's not about to die, and I mime lifting him on the shoulder, and then I walk with my fingers and point at the wagon, and then mime unloading him, and then shrug as if I'm asking a question.
Okay.
Guys will just nod. He has no idea what's going on. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Clarissa now.
I mean, she's going to do it anyway.
She is
We
going
all
to do
know
it.
what she's like.
Oh wow! Ouch. So she picks up the one who isn't dead because we kind of want him for questioning. She makes sure that the one who is bleeding out is the one who's got the brooch still, because that way the authorities can find him and start looking into the cult and everything.
That is the way round, yes.
Yeah. So she picks up the one that might recover with a bit of care, and then carries him over to the wagon, throws him in the back of it, and then mimes for Gaius to get in the back of the wagon with him so she can drive them home.
Okay.
Before we leave, can Gaius just quickly, he'll grab the robe and whichever brooch, if she didn't take the brooch off the one who is dying, he'll grab the robe and the brooch off of them.
Oh, I was hoping to... Yeah, I didn't make it clear. Okay, yeah.
All right.
And then...
By the time you're doing that, you can tell that you can hear your breathing again. You can hear the clicking as you take the brooch off the bleeding man. You are no longer inside this zone of silence.
I'm carrying silence with me. That's so dramatic. I think I should get a drama point for that.
Carrying silence.
And at the other end of the street, as you throw the guy into the back of the wagon, he lands, of course, completely silently.
Clarissa does a few antics, like making some stupid sounds, jumping, banging stuff, shouting, trying to sing, whistling, and then gets on, like she mounts the driver's seat of the wagon, and she realises that she can't click her tongue to get the horses to ride, so she kind of flicks the reins a bit.
Okay.
And starts them turning around, so she comes about to face Gaius.
All right, well, it's night time, and though Rome is a busy city, there's no difficulty with just heading out into the junction in front of you, turning around and riding back down. Okay. The horses, of course, make no sound on the street.
I'm assuming Gaius is aware. Would he notice that?
Yes, as the horses approach, you can... It's a genuinely spooky thing. You've been around horses your entire life, especially in the city where they are prancing around on stone. And horses are not silent, even when they're walking around on grass. On
You've
stone,
got the sound of the
they
tack and the leather and the metal, all of it.
They are very noisy in an urban environment, and this is deathly silent.
As Clarissa approaches on the wagon, he'll hold up a hand and sort of beckon her over and take a few steps back till he can hear just noise, I suppose, till he can hear anything, background noise or his footsteps.
No, you can hear background noise the whole time. You just can't hear your footsteps and your breathing once you're inside the zone.
Okay, cool.
Clarissa, meanwhile, is having a wild old time. She's having a fine time. She's singing. She's doing all kinds of crazy... I mean, she thinks the silence shit is really, really top-notch. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, are you getting on the wagon?
Yeah, he'll get on the wagon.
All right. So, Clarissa, if you can roll for me, it's not going to be a difficult thing to do, but can you roll me a dex check, since you're having to manoeuvre a horse without being able to give it any verbal commands as you take it back to the leader?
Dexterity and knowledge?
That'll be, in this case, I think, probably dexterity and knowledge, so +7.
17!
Brilliant.
Bam!
It is still profoundly weird, but you have enough of a flick of the wrist when it comes to the reins to direct the horse all the way back to the ludus, and you pull up by the large gate into the training yard, and hop down, push the gate open, and lead your wagon with your very unwell passenger inside, closing the gate behind you. And at that moment, we should take our break, I think.
Oh, fun
Nice.
stuff. Thanks, Ben.
Are we in fact playing out the story of how the term horse whisperer came into effect?
Well, we weren't, and yet somehow now I feel we might be.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But that was brilliant. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll be back in, I don't know, 5 minutes or so?
Back in 5,
Yep.
yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you for being with us. We'll be back in 5. And welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. And we have just left with our heroes returning silently to the yard in the Ludus, which is just built behind the main house, between the house and the Temple of Mars, which is not in fact a Temple of Mars at all, but a library. The arrival of the horse and its frankly terrifying silence, the wagon and the two horses at the front, immediately attracts the attention of Julius, who comes out baffled by the fact that his feet don't seem to be making any sound as he gets closer. And he sort of tries to say something and then nothing comes out, so he sort of visibly attempts to clear his throat and nothing comes out, and then tries again and still nothing comes out. And he looks at you helplessly.
Clarissa does an unnecessarily fancy dismount from the cart driving seat and then tosses Julius one of the brooches that she took off the men.
Okay. He catches it and looks at it, and then looks back up at you and mouths, "What's this?"
She mouths back, "Tuesday," deliberately not understanding him.
He beckons you towards him and heads back up the couple of steps into the doorway to the temple, where his footsteps begin to sound again.
Clarissa looks like she's having no fun. No, she says, we were just walking and this wagon, two people jumped out, tried to kidnap a slave girl who was absolutely terrified. Nothing particularly special about her. She wasn't wearing any insignia. She was just carrying some oil home from, I don't know, somewhere. Two thugs jumped out huge, but we got the jump on them. Well, one of them's in the back and the other one's probably dead by now. But Gaius was amazing and, took the slave girl home and was all burly and brave. And we found that on them, and I was just wondering if you knew what it was. I think it's like a martial cult thing. I don't know.
All right. Let's see what he knows about it. Okay.
Gaius did look like he was living his best life, in the 10 minutes of silence that he's had with Clarissa not taking the mickey out of him.
Wow!
But now he looks considerably more back to his usual self, I suppose, with her. Did they have sarcasm in ancient Rome? Who knows?
Yes, they did.
Sarcastic comments.
Yeah, they most certainly did. They inherited it from the Greeks.
Who in turn inherited it from Clarissa, I would imagine.
Clarissa, the goddess of hubris, I believe.
He sort of takes it over to one of the tables and looks at it, turns it over in his hand, and then looks up and he says, "I can't be absolutely certain, but I think this is significant for the Lupercalia. The two crossed swords, I think they represent Romulus and Remus.
Oh.
I think this would have something to do with the Lupercalia, but also the Quirinalia 2 days later, which is a festival about Romulus. Beyond that, I can't tell you."
Wouldn't it be, if it was about the Lupercalia, wouldn't it be shaped like a wolf?
He's pulling out a scroll and unrolling it. And it shows the phases of Romulus as a demigod and then a god. And the first phase is the wolf. is Romulus as the infant, and the second phase is Romulus and Remus as warriors, associated with the transition of the god Mars from being a god of agriculture to a god of war. And then the third phase is the rise of Quirinus, which is Romulus as a deity in his own right.
Huh. Thanks, you. Clarissa's completely tapped out at this point. She's like, She goes and she kind of opens Gaius's jacket or wherever he's been storing the weapons and just unpacks him and starts making sure that the weapons are all sharp and tidily put away.
Okay. He then walks out and starts wandering around the wagon, sort of measuring the points where the silence starts. Finding, of course, that it's roughly circular around the guy in the back.
Gaius will approach and say, I mean, obviously we bought the survivor back for questioning. I'm not sure how easy that's going to be given the current situation.
He may be unquestionable, you're right.
More questionable than the other one is.
She's right.
Than the dead one, sure. Yes, I take your
Not
point.
dead yet. I mean,
okay, he says, I have to do some research. See what you can get out of him.
yeah, Gaius. See what you can get out of him.
Sure. I mean, I guess we've got a bit of time to kill before he regains consciousness.
He's
Is he-
barely moving, and his eyes are closed, and there's not a lot of responsiveness.
I only kicked him in the head once.
Yeah, but you are the Slayer.
Well, that's not my fault.
It's true.
It's not your
It's
fault at
true,
all.
in fact.
I mean, can we throw water over him, or that smelly stuff, that you put under people's noses when they get knocked out in the arena, and they're like, "Wah," and then they're back to fighting. Can you do that to him?
Ammonia.
Yeah, I
Smell.
guess.
You can
Sure.
certainly try that.
Before we come away from him. Before we do you want to search them and make sure that it's not something they're carrying that's been.
I mean, I don't know what I'd be looking for, but I'm happy to. I mean, look at him. I'm happy to pat that down. Big muscly fella. It'll be fine. Let's go.
Anything you find, just throw it away, and we'll see if
Oh.
not throw it away, but cast it aside, and we'll see whether the silence follows.
So she starts just patting him down, and then the logical thing to do, despite her jokes, is to just undress the man and see if by throwing away each item of clothing one by one, the silence moves with what she's removing and tossing away.
All right, okay. So you take off the cloak first.
This is the weirdest striptease ever.
this
Enjoy this
blood
one,
red
Kelly.
cloak.
This one's
and
yeah.
There is music playing, but you can't hear it.
and throw it, throw it into the corner of the ludus, and it flies away in complete silence, lands in complete silence, and now, when you reach for the item, you can hear yourself breathe and move again.
Oh, bam! My first try. Did you hear that? Clarissa's making really significant find faces at Gaius. She totally cracked the case.
Did I see it? Did I hear it? I'm not sure. Well, at least now we can proceed with the questioning, I suppose. Good work.
All right. You want to try and wake him up?
Are we still out? Are we in the middle of the courtyard?
Yes.
Is it a very obvious can it be overlooked? Are we
No. The courtyard
walled?
is only visible from the house and the temple, and the wife and her slave of Julius have fairly strict instructions to stay out of the rooms at the back of the house.
Because they're not special enough to know the secrets.
Well, you have to have secrets. They know there's a secret, but they don't ask questions.
Yeah.
All the wagons around give away that there's a secret.
Okay. Clarissa trots off to get a big bucket of water from somewhere.
No shortage of that in the training yard.
Also, though, she's a bit worried about the horses at this point. They've been harnessed, having a bit of a stressful night, so maybe she kind of looks at giving them a bit of water each as well and loosening the tack a bit.
Fair enough.
I mean, literally just 2 minutes of attention for the horses. She's mostly focused on the man. But she doesn't want another stampede in the yard at all.
Yep, no, that makes sense. And you're then going to throw a bucket of water over him, or?
I'd say pour it gently.
Pour it gently, okay.
Yeah.
So considerate.
Yeah.
All right. Can you make an intellect plus science
Oh, that's going to get great
in this?
for me.
So that's a total of 2, please. So it's a D10 plus 2.
D10 plus 2. 7.
Okay. All right. You pour the water over him. He seems completely unresponsive, and some of the water splashes into his mouth and throat, and he doesn't even twitch. He appears to have died on you.
Oops. Sorry. She feels actually quite bad. She hadn't intended to kill either of them, though the one that she stabbed, obviously being a little bit rougher with the girl, she doesn't feel too bad about this one. But yeah, this guy in the yard, she's a bit more unhappy about.
Julius said, "See what you can get out of them, not what you can put into them." Right?
Wow. Seriously, right now, that's what you have?
What else? What else have we got? What can we do now?
Can you, I don't know, raise the dead or, look at stuff? I don't know. You do the clever things. I just beat shit up.
I mean, I'm assuming, Ben, that even at this point in the Buffy universe, it's frowned upon to bring things back from the dead.
It's not encouraged.
No.
And can lead to seriously undesirable side effects. The plague of zombies being one of them.
We're not at that point of desperation yet, I suppose.
I that's not my place to say. I suppose that would be up to Father.
I love that you call him Father, like Father, Papa. Amazing.
Pater.
So I got nothing. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Sorry. Oh, we do have 2 lovely horses, though. Hey, what if you did something to make the horses tell you where they came from?
That's potentially an option, I suppose, or potentially tried to extract knowledge without him being alive. I don't know if that's even possible.
I mean, I don't know what weird shit you're into.
The horses is probably the easier option. Do you want to come over with me? Because the last time I interacted with these horses, it didn't end particularly well. Just be a comforting figure, I suppose.
Well, I tell you what, let's unhitch them first. Let's get this wagon off them because it's got to be quite heavy. Let's loosen their tack and just keep their bridles on them, so that we've got control of their heads, but the rest of them is quite comfortable. That's probably the way to go.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so you want to try and cast a spell on the horses?
Yeah. Just one of them, I suppose. Doesn't
Okay.
need to be both.
So, you want to cast a spell on the horses. Now, if I understand
Yeah.
correctly, you want them to do what?
I want to. I don't know what would be easier or more difficult. I would just like to get a general sense from the horse's brain, where it considers to be home.
Okay.
I mean, I could totally try and speak with it, but
Oh, I want to see guys. do that.
probably what will happen is Clarissa will end up speaking horse for the next 2 hours.
All right.
Dare.
All right. That's going to be a power level of.
I'm warming up a dice now.
5 to achieve that.
Cool. So D10 plus.
D10 plus 13.
Okay. I'm going to use drama point and add 10 to my roll.
Then in that case, it's a D10 plus 23.
Wonderful. I'll take my drama down to 14. So his eyes will, as he's casting this spell, his eyes will flare up and be all dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 2.
It's a 29.
It's
I
a
think
20
you'll find.
plus. No, it's a 2 plus. What was it? 23.
Yeah, 2 plus 23, so 25
Yeah.
total.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a success level of 7, which is comfortably enough. It would not have been enough had you not used your drama point, however.
Certainly wouldn't have.
So,
Stupid dice.
good choice. The animal can give you a limited amount of understanding. It knows its way home, it knows which way to go, but it doesn't necessarily know the route the same way you would. It knows it in terms of the distance and what's under its feet and the environment around, to an extent the smells and how it identifies the people and the places it knows. However, if you were to translate that in your brain with the knowledge you have of the city, because you are, frankly, a very knowledgeable Roman citizen, if you connect it all together, where the horse comes from is near the middle of the Palatine Hill.
He'll say to Clarissa, it's definitely Palatine. It's near the middle. I think that's
The middle, like the palatial middle, like the big, big house in the middle.
Beyond that, all the horse knows is that it has a stable built up against a rock face. There's rock at the back and wooden doors at the front.
yeah. I mean that's pretty much all I can get. Apart from the stable, which will relay as well.
Clarissa's just
Windows.
looking really impressed. She's like, okay, genuinely, I didn't think that would work. That's kind of amazing.
I mean, it's certainly. I think at this point we're kind of 50-50 with the horse magic.
Yeah, you're 1 for 1. I mean, 1
Yeah.
for 2.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah. Which feels comfortable.
but does it know? I mean, it's only Palatine. It's literally around the corner. If it's from Palatine Hill, would it know its way home? Can we just ride it home? Do you think?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben. that Gaius would say. I get the impression that it's more likely to listen to the rider than it is just to go home. You know, all the directions you're giving it.
If you were to sit on it and just let it walk, it might eventually go home, but it might go down to the river and have a drink, or wander off to a field and look for oats. You never know.
I mean, we can keep an eye out for a stable in the middle, somewhere in the middle of the Palatine.
With a rock at the back. How many
With a
stables
rock at
can
the
there
back
be
and some wooden doors.
built against a rock? There can't be many. Huh. Nice job, pony boy.
That's gonna never grow old, is it?
No, it's not.
It's a very impressive spell, though. It was very well done. So,
yeah, she's not being entirely unkind when she says that. Like, she's not accustomed to being nice, but that's probably as nice as she can be in the moment.
Yeah.
Kelly's a fan.
Yes, yes. So it's at about that moment that Julius comes down and asks if you managed to get anything out of the chap.
Not the chap. No, not the chap. And then she just sort of looks at Gaius meaningfully.
I mean, we did get a robe, a cloak that appears to get rid of any sound in a certain area. How far was it? You measured it out, didn't you, Father?
Yes, something of the order of 5 or 6 paces, I think.
So, I mean, there's that, which he'll go over and actually won't go over and pick it up. He'll think about going over to pick it up and then think, actually, we should probably figure out what we're going to do first.
We have the conversation first, and then...
Yeah. And he'll pause in his step as he goes to turn away.
We should put it on a rope in the well, because the well is 10 metres deep and that's got an 8-metre radius. So we could put it in the well and know it's there, but still be able to hear ourselves above ground.
Well, I was, just thinking that if ever, actually, it would get complicated. There must be a way that we could use this for patrols to our advantage, without, the downside of coming across a city guard and not being able to explain.
You're
themselves.
just finding another way to tell me that I talk too much, aren't you? That's what that is.
Well, I was with you until the pony boy.
See, some people are so sensitive. Well, I'm going to tell your dad if you don't.
We did find out roughly the general area that the horses came from, or where they consider to be their home. Somewhere in the middle of the Palpatine. Stable with a built up against a rock face, wooden doors. Seems a bit unique.
Okay, so you want to go up to the Palatine, look around for a stable that matches the description, find out who owns it, or...
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Unless, of course, the stable is just a stable and they hire out horses. But
I mean, it's possible.
They don't have liveries. No, there's no livery on the Palatine. They're all down either behind the circus or over in the Viminal.
It sounds
the
plausible.
People on the Palatine already have horses.
You'd imagine they'd have their own...
good horses.
But no, unfortunately, we didn't get anything out of the the dead body over there, which could possibly do with disposing of as well at some point, I suppose.
I could put him with the other one.
Well, we might be going that way.
Ideally, perhaps we could avoid returning to the scenes of crimes. It
wasn't my crime.
It was a very silent crime.
Yeah.
Well, I am wondering if it would make sense if we can use the cloak to make it easier to dispose of the body.
By just let me check. By dispose of, you mean not have it here anymore?
That's what I mean.
Okay, so where it ends up as opposed to not being here, not really a worry.
No, I mean it could be moved to the south, out into the field, south of the circus, or, for that matter, thrown into the Tiber. The problem with throwing it into the Tiber is that doing things like that tends to make a lot of noise, but I have a feeling this one won't.
Also, though, don't we drink out of the Tiber?
Well, we don't.
Well, that's all right then. Oh my God, this is huge, Daddy Longlegs. I'm so sorry. He's really big. Okay, sorry, go on. Oh, I got it. Oh God. Okay, sorry. I'm such a badass Buffy Slayer person. Okay, I got him. It's fine.
Totally.
Taken care of. It's fine.
Could we leave that with you? The body and the cloak? Yeah.
Me?
No, Father.
All right. Yes.
Thank you.
If you need to go and complete the job, then I'll worry about the body.
Do you want to worry about the other body as well, or just this one?
Let's not go looking for additional bodies to dispose of. That one, I'm sure, has been found or will be soon.
Okay. Also, not my fault.
I believe you. I don't have any reason to believe that anyone will come looking, because, you know, you didn't, give your name to anybody or anything, did you?
No, I didn't. No.
So, we won't worry about it. This is Rome. People die violently all the time.
You know the slave girl, you didn't tell her who you were. I don't remember. Did you tell the guy when you took her home? Did you say who you were?
No, I definitely didn't.
Oh, that's all right then. We're fine.
Okay, then. Life is cheap in Rome. Well, his is anyway. So, very well. If you wish to set off and explore, I think that's a good use of your time, and I will deal with the body.
And you know what they say in Rome? Nil corpus, nil crimus. There you go. That's how it is. No body, no crime. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sure someone says that.
Me. That's whatever. Let's go.
Should we take the horses? Do you want to take the horses? Do you want to walk it?
No, I mean, the horses might know where they go. Maybe they've had a long night. They're probably desperate to get rubbed down and put to bed. So maybe they'll lead us there. Maybe they know that that's where we want to go, and they want to go there too. And let's just walk and hold their bridles and see where they want.
All right. You briefly help Julius move the body out of the back of the wagon and stash it in the temple. Mm-hmm. And then, yes, you get your horses moving and move out onto the street. Are you taking the cloak with you?
Yes.
You don't have to. It's up to you.
I think I was just told to explicitly by Julius, actually, so I think I have to.
Okay. So you take the cloak, and obviously as you approach it, it all falls silent again for you. You pick up the cloak, and are you going to wear it or put it in the wagon or what?
Oh, we've unhitched the wagon. Are we re-hitching the wagon?
We don't have to.
I don't particularly want to re-hitch the wagon, though we can get some rope out the back. We've got all those lengths of rope that we can tie to the bridles so they've got a little bit more, like a halter, so it's easier for the horses to walk.
All right. So are you going to ride the horses or lead them?
I was going to let them lead me, really. I was just going to walk at the side.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
What do you think, guys?
The only thought I have is that it could be quite difficult to explain ourselves to anyone that we might need to if.
Why aren't your horses making any noise?
Why aren't your horses, or would be more accurate, and then why aren't I making any noise would also probably could swiftly follow.
It might draw attention, yes.
But
think
if we don't want to
Julius-
have any conversations, then
Well, if Julius is going to be throwing bodies into water, I think he probably needs the cloak.
Okay.
Whereas we could just be saying that we're returning cart horses from late arrivals in the evening.
Sure. Okay. So you walk through the streets with the horses, as you say, on a loose tether beside you. No particular desire to drag them along, but you know roughly where you're going, so you lead them towards up the roads that run down the side of the Palatine.
Yeah, and I've got some Polo Mintus in my pockets, so the horse is perfectly happy with me.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Before too very long, you find yourself climbing the fairly shallow slope on the west of the Palatine. It's much steeper towards the east, where the scarp side of the slope is, and where it's broken into sort of crags and quite steep bits in places. And heading up these rather gentle but winding avenues, because nobody wants to climb the hill straight up if they can avoid it. You're meandering around one wealthy house after another. It's dead of night now. Even though night falls early in February, we're now talking about probably 9 o'clock in the evening. And there's not a lot of movement. As you go, you do see a few people out on the street celebrating things. And as you make your way around the side of the Palatine, you pass very close to the Lupercal itself, which is a cave in the western side of the Palatine Hill. And there, a large number of people are gathered waiting for the Lupercalia to begin the following day, saying a few prayers and having a moment of reflection. But you're not interested in a big crowd right now. So you lead the horses and they lead you up the slope past the Lupercal and up the Palatine. And before long you do find that the horses are clearly finding familiar road under their feet. They make it as far as the central plateau in the middle of the Palatine. And from there, I need you guys to make a quick notice check, please.
A notice check.
A notice check. So,
Roll 1.
essentially what this means is for Gaius, that's a 3 plus 5 is 8. Sorry, 2 plus 3 is 5 plus a d10.
Yep. That's an 8, so that's 13.
A 13. And for Clarissa, that's a 4 plus 3 is 7 plus a d10.
Okay. 13.
13 again. That's excellent. A 13 is a 3. Okay. You make your way across, even though it is very dark. There are obviously lights coming from various of the buildings around you. There's a bit of a moon. It's chilly, but southern Italy. It's not freezing. And as you make your way...
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kelly. I forgot. I did promise Kelly I'd use a drama. It's okay. Don't worry.
As you make your way up the slope, you find that there is an area where the horses... It's not that they necessarily want to go that way, but they kind of hesitate, as if they're expecting you to lead them that way. Down a little slope just to the east.
Huh. I sort of, let the horse go where it needs.
Okay. You make your way down, and as you head down that slope, you find it's a little bit overgrown. You've come off the actual road into what may be private property, or at least not very well travelled property. But there are ruts from wagons, there are hoof prints here. And as it curves to the north, built into a sort of a bit of a steep, rocky slope that might be reminiscent of the Lupercal itself. Another small cave or something could be there, if it wasn't for the fact that a stable has been built right up against that rocky face.
Clarissa is going to whisper to Gaius, "Here, take this rope." And she's going to give him the rope for her horse and then slip off somewhere a bit shadowy and out of the way so she can watch, just in case anybody comes out and challenges him or looks a bit sus. So she's getting ready to have to fight.
Okay.
And just slipping off to one side, staying close to him and sort of tracking him from the shadows.
Okay, so effectively, Gaius will lead the horses up to the stable, and you will sneak along a little bit, crouched down on the lower part of the slope, keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, it's night time. It's fully dark now. There's a dark side by the wall, so she's just going to be slipping along in that shadow.
Oh, someone would have to be very alert to spot you. There's no question.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Gaius, you make your way along to the front of the stable. There's a low fence around the front of the building. Basically just demarking a yard for the horses to be moved in and out of as needed. It's not a security fence, to put it simply. Just a sort of wooden fence around a horse yard, and behind that is the stable building, built right up against the cliff face, which it's not a very tall cliff, but it's maybe 20 feet tall at its highest.
What's on top of the cliff?
Okay. Clarissa, I need you to roll for me a notice check with perception, please. So that's D10 plus 7.
I'm going to use drama and add 10 to my roll.
Nice.
Good call.
There you go, Kelly. This one's for you. So that's 1d10 plus 17.
D10 plus 17, please.
26. Bam!
A 26.
She sees everything.
A 26 is a success level 8.
Nice.
Okay.
She sees what you did last summer. That's
It
the wrong
is,
franchise.
as you say, very dark, and despite your experience of moving around the city, this is a relatively open area, and it's easy to get turned around as the lanes switch back and forth. But as you look up above the cliff, a little bit of a cloud breaks just at that moment, and a bit of moonlight strikes through, and what is directly above the stable is the palatial home of Crassus the Roman. And that's where we'll call it for tonight.
Ah, no! Unbelievable. I just sent Gaius to his death and he's going to have to wait to eat it.
A classic Ben cliffhanger.
Yes, I know it's the first time I've ever sort of GM'd for you, Socks, but I do that quite a lot.
Lying.
I think Ewan could probably feel it coming.
Yeah, a little bit. But that was really good fun, Ben.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Thoroughly enjoy the setting and the system and the company. It was great. It was a good game.
Yes, Kelly, once I'd started building it, I realised that because it was an unfamiliar system, and it's not really a rules-light system either, it's got a fair degree of complexity to it. In order to do it justice, it was going to have to be a proper story. So I don't know how many sessions it'll be. What I do know is there are available slots to fold in. So if you'd like to join us, you don't have to, no pressure, but if you'd like to join us, we can find a seat at the table for you.
Yeah. And you had so much fun watching this one, Kelly. Like, yeah, it would be lovely to play this game with you. And it has been lovely to play this game with you two. Thank you both so much.
Thank you. It's been an absolute treat. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
It really has. And thank you to everyone in chat. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Sparrow. Thanks, Luke. Yeah. And I'm sure other people.
Yeah, everybody who hung out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes, I saw quite a few names go past. I was kind of concentrating on other things. I do apologise for that, but
yes. And Rook and Rasp's friends.
Yeah, Rookie Raspy people. I don't know if Stevie's still here, but that's for you, Stevie.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's been fun. So I got to schedule this now as well as Blues. Exciting.
Yes, I mean, this isn't intended to be a long-term ongoing one, but I think there's probably 2 more sessions in it, maybe. That kind of length.
Cool.
That's
Yeah, good stuff.
That kind of thing. So if that's okay with you, Socks?
That's perfect. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to schedule at least half a session just for banter between these two.
Yes, of course.
Probably.
But yeah,
limited miniseries on HBO. That's what Kelly's saying.
Well, yeah, maybe. We'll pitch it to them. You never know.
But also, I don't even notice that the Bink, when he left, he went to buy this game so that he could play it at home with his family.
Oh, really?
So
Nice.
we've sold at least 1 copy of this game this evening.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
definitely going to be Googling where I can get it from because it's very cool.
It
I like
is.
it.
Yeah.
I think the hard copies are wildly out of print, but I'm pretty sure
Oh,
the PDFs are available on drive-through.
Oh,
nice.
cool.
Nice.
Because
And I would
I've had
imagine
this
that-
book for 20 years, you understand.
Yeah. I'd
Oh,
imagine with a bit
thankfully.
of searching, you could find some. You could find a hard copy somewhere. I am sure.
Oh, it was brilliant, yeah. And what I really loved is you feel really cool. Like when you're playing, it's the coolest I've ever felt playing any game ever. You're just a badass. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, thank you,
definitely.
everybody. I do hope you enjoyed it, and we will sign off now and catch you. Sorry, I do have to just quickly say Luke is playing Heavy Rain tomorrow night.
The enormously entertaining and
Sunday.
very, very cheerful Heavy
It's
Rain.
not exactly upbeat, but it does have the benefit of being an actual proper cleaning teeth simulator.
It is. And there was peeing. Don't forget the peeing.
Oh yes, there was also that,
There was peeing and showering.
and the showering. Yes,
And then children dying.
and then the
suddenly
children
and
dying. Yep.
It's a laugh a minute. This title is
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
But it's Spooky Sunday, and that's tomorrow night, a little before midnight UK time, 11:45 kind of
Yeah.
UK time. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. Maybe pop in to see Luke tomorrow, and if not, we'll catch you next Thursday for Luke, and then next Friday for Traveller.
Traveller.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.